everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about 10 framing mistakes that every filmmaker has made at some point. Maybe not every filmmaker, but I know at least I make these mistakes all the time and am constantly having to remind myself to not do them. So I'm hoping that by making this video, I'm going to cement this information further into my mind and into yours so that we don't make these mistakes anymore. So watch closely, because these are really simple fixes that can transform your content overnight and make you a much better filmmaker as long as you remember these 10 things. So if you've ever felt like there's just something off with your footage and you're just not liking the way it looks, or you find it just doesn't look like other professional content that you see, this is the video for you. Before I get into it, please don't forget to subscribe to follow the journey. I'm currently in Siargao in the Philippines filming this, as you can tell, with the super frizzy hair, and you can probably hear the air conditioning that I just refuse to turn off because it is like 35 degrees. For more of that travel content of the beautiful scenery around here, check out my Instagram. But for now, let's get into it. Okay, I know you've heard this one 1,000 times before, but I feel like it would be irresponsible of me to not talk about it at least a little bit, because that's how important it is. So let's get it out of the way. The rule of thirds. It seems so simple, but it really does make a difference. When filmmakers ignore this rule, their videos tend to look a little bit less dynamic and engaging, because it's something that really helps guide the viewer's eye and create a symmetrical composition. So the viewer's eye naturally seeks a point of interest. Whenever you're looking at a photo or a video, normally your eye is going to go to one specific place, and that's on purpose. The person who created that has done that intentionally. And you can control this with the rule of thirds. So how do you do this? Well, place your subject on one of the intersections of the line, either here, 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 or here. Now, of course, you can put them in the middle, but in that case, try and keep the subject's eyes on this second line here. Rules are there to be broken, but just make sure you're doing everything with intention. If your subject is not on the line of thirds, ask yourself why and have a good reason. The second mistake is poor headroom. Giving too much or too little space above your subject's head, it can really throw off the balance of your shot, can disconnect the subject from the scene. Whereas normally you want your character to be kind of front and center, but too little space above the head makes the scene seem a bit cramped and claustrophobic. So it really depends on what message you want to send. As a guide for the right amount of headroom, just try and get the subject's eyes on the second line here. Or if you don't want to follow that, make sure there's some other way that your subject is being framed. So having leading lines coming towards them, or having, the lighting in the scene dictate where they are. 3. Chopping off limbs. Inexperienced filmmakers will often crop people at their joints, and this is a really odd thing to do, because then it kind of looks like that person's arms or legs or whatnot have been amputated. So aim to crop between the joints. So never at the elbow or at the knees, more in between any of those sections. This is going to be a lot more pleasing for the eye, trust me. 4. Poor use of negative space. Negative space can either add or detract from the subject in your scene. Having negative space, which means just having a lot of open space around your subject, helps keep your image looking clean and really puts an emphasis on your subject. So when you don't have negative space, things can be a little bit more chaotic and there can be a lot more going on. But that can be intentional. If you have your subject and you really want the viewer to also notice what else is going on around them, in that case, you don't need as much negative space. 5. Ignoring background elements. Now, this is kind of similar to the last tip. Filmmakers often solely focus on the subject of their video, ignoring how the background elements like trees and houses and people are interacting behind them. And this can have a big impact on how your scene looks. A really common mistake I see people making is with trees and light poles. You should never have anything behind your subject that is sticking out of their head. For example, if you look at this photo where the tree is coming out of the head versus this photo where it's not, you can see it's just a little bit more pleasing to look at, and it's just overall better composition. 6. Lack of depth. Even though shooting all your subjects against a nice, clean, flat, and minimal background can be nice, it often makes the scene look really two-dimensional and honestly a little bit boring. So if you find that your background is like this and it's a little bit dull, just try adding depth. And it's as simple as moving your subject closer to the camera and leaving more space behind them. And then I also recommend using a lens that has a really low f-stop, like an f1.8, to blur that background out. 7. Inconsistent framing and continuity. For sequences where continuity is essential, so basically any film where there are multiple shots in your video, Having consistency is key. If you're filming and you keep switching between having one subject centered or one subject on the line of third, it's gonna look a little bit messy. So if you're picking a particular style, stick to it in every scene of your video. And there are exceptions, but like I said at the beginning, if you have intention behind everything, it will be okay. 8, not adhering to the 180-degree rule. Now, this only applies if you have more than one subject in your scene and they're having a conversation. The rule dictates that if you draw an imaginary line between your two subjects talking, so if there was somebody here I was talking to, if you draw a line between us, then you should always keep your camera to one side of that line. 9, failing to lead the eyes. Now, I mentioned this briefly before, but having leading lines is such a powerful tool. It's really important to try and guide the viewer's eye to your subject. Is what makes an image or a scene look really impactful. And you can do this by any type of thing. All you do is look for lines or anything that goes in one direction in a scene. So that can be a sidewalk, a street, it can be a log, it can be even a shadow of light that is just pointing towards something. And then you place your subject at a point on that line. For example, in this photo, I used the log to guide the viewer's eye to the subject. And last but not least, horizon line. This is another really simple one, but I still see so many people making this mistake. Horizon line just means literally make that line of your horizon straight. You can do this on your camera, when you're editing, on your phone, anywhere, because when you go to tilt your video, a bunch of lines usually pop up and you can just make sure that those are aligned. So to sum up, there are so many little tricks that can really elevate your content, and anyone can do them. So to list them off quickly, there was the rule of thirds, poor headroom, chopping your characters at awkward points, so chopping them at the joints, poor use of negative space, ignoring background elements, lack of depth, inconsistent framing, the 180-degree rule, failing to lead the eye, and not keeping your horizon line straight. So now that your footage is gonna look spectacular because you have all of these easy tricks, you need to edit it. And doing this can take hours, and it can really take a toll on your back and your posture. At least I know it does for me when I'm sitting for hours hunched over at my laptop and I start to feel a bit sore. Because working on a laptop can really do damage. But there's a little way around it. I made this video last week showing you a simple and really cheap tool that I use when I'm working from anywhere, and I really highly recommend it. So I'll leave a link here and you can check it out. And if you found this helpful, please consider subscribing to not miss any more insights and tips on filmmaking and traveling. Have a great one, and I'll see you next week.